Hello, my name is Ara Novak, and this is my book review of The Windup Girl by Paulo Bacigalupi. So, The Windup Girl is a science fiction novel set in what could be best described as post apocalyptic plagued Bangkok, Thailand in the 23rd century. And this dystopian piece follows individuals as life has reverted back to a fight for basic needs and shows us today an eerie picture of our potential. So the societal framework has taken on a very primal and volatile lifestyle. And in the midst of doing what it takes to survive, um, an almost Mad Max me over you mentality has become prominent, and all interactions are kind of driven by more skewed and self serving agendas. And this stems from a corrupt government and a lack of food, which has resulted in a monopoly on agriculture and society falling in the mercy of massive corporations, one specifically known as calorie companies. And those determine the production and distribution of the only source of food. And so, almost like every required update to Apple products, these corporations would develop new strands of plants or crops and then would release a new foodborne disease that would make all the past crops unusable. So, in this way, where calories now have become currency, um, corporations are able to constantly control the most vital source, which is food, and also, therefore, control everyone that still lives in this world. So, in a 2016 interview, Bacigalupi made this quote when he was discussing his kind of mentality on developing this story. And he says that in any universe where we as human beings were focused on being rational and effective, Trump would not be as successful as he is. Maybe that's what's happening is we are seeing how dumb we are, and society needs expert technocrats to run everything because clearly we as a mass are just a mob. I found that this quote pretty much really encompasses everything that's he's trying to put out throughout this novel. Bacigalupi depicts for us a world in which we have failed to uphold our end of the relationship with our environment and instead have given ourselves over to greed and selfishness. In many ways, he shows us a very real picture of what our world might look like should we choose not to change. And currently, we have placed our own issues and our lust for money above our planet. And we have become lazy and indifferent towards these issues at the same time. So, almost a rhetoric that says someone else will take care of it has become pervasive and, in many ways, even encouraged. And our own superiority has become for us a curse as we become more focused on self. It perpetuates the Mad Max mentality I mentioned earlier about the me over you. And as species, we continue in this mindset when this dystopian future becomes a reality, we will only continue to become more self-serving and will continue to do so at the cost of our planet and its resources. So in my opinion, after reading this, it will only be at that point that we will actually acknowledge that we are the sole being of our own detriment. So just a couple final points and my mentality as I went through this novel. As someone who really appreciates Bacigalupi's short stories, I found this novel to be a little more on the difficult side to make my way through. It does encompass very deep and intimidating ideas. And in my opinion, the work as a whole, I think I found that it was a little long-winded and in places difficult to follow. But if you do enjoy slow and detailed buildups, a very complex concepts, and this book is for you. It's very well written. I just personally wasn't my cup of tea. I also found that at times the characters were a little unrelatable, but the concepts behind the inner workings of the environment, society, and greed definitely struck a chord with me and painted an eerily familiar and foreseeable picture. In the urban world where people generally take food for granted, the idea of corporations controlling our ability to get food, one of our two most basic needs, seems unthinkable. However, when we think about the corporations controlling things like pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and maybe like who is deserving of those things, parallels can be quickly made to the ideas in this novel. In this way, Bacigalupi is almost able to take a foreign alien world and make it disturbingly relatable. Now, from an education standpoint, I wouldn't use this piece for my high school students, but I definitely think that other science fiction narratives that share the same concepts would be incredibly effective when coupled with their lessons held in classes like biology or environmental systems to really help students grasp the idea of what climate change will look like. And from a higher education standpoint, I think this novel would also be a great piece to depict Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the shift in behavior and priority once basic physiological needs fall out of reach. Thank you for watching my review, and I wish you well.